In December 2014, Governor Pat McCrory named John Skvarla Secretary of North Carolina Department of Commerce, and he assumed those responsibilities January the 5th, 2015. John comes to the Commerce Department after serving in Governor McCrory's Secretary of North Carolina Department of Environment and Natural Resources for the 2 previous years. Prior to his government service, John enjoyed a successful business career, most recently serving as Chief Executive Officer of Restoration Systems, an environmental mitigation firm based in Raleigh that helps improve and restore wetlands and waterways. He also led Wilkinson High-Rise and manufactured waste management and automotive recycling systems. John previously served as the Chief Executive Officer for Proactive Therapy, one of the largest physical therapy providers in the southeastern United States, and prior to that was the Chief Operating Officer of the Aviation Group, a company that emerged as the world's largest all-cargo airline during his tenure. An attorney, John founded the firm in 1978, the Raleigh-based Wyatt Robbins Yates law firm, where he specialized in corporate tax matters as well as public and private capital formations. John, there's some very important legislation pending in the legislature, which I'm sure you'd like to comment on. Please welcome the Secretary of North Carolina Department of Commerce, John Skvarla.
I suspect I can't go anywhere and people say what's going on in the General Assembly. We'll talk about it. Russell, thank you. For you, those of you that don't know, Russell is on our Economic Investment Committee. That is the group that ultimately determines whether incentive awards are made, big incentive awards. So Russell, we appreciate your service. There's only 5 of us. It includes the Secretary of Revenue and also the Chief Budget Officer. So Russell, thank you very much for your service. And thanks to some other folks here, Frank and Oppie, your leadership at the partnership has been just outstanding. The forward thinking that you all have shown in assembling the site that you have put together is remarkable. I know it didn't happen overnight, and it takes a lot of forethought, initiative, and hard work to do it. These 2 have been extraordinary leaders. I tell people that if I had a choice of having a tussle with Oppie or a pit bull, I'd take the pit bull. I might have a chance to win now. But she's doing a great job for you, and Frank, your leadership is terrific. And also, I'm sorry Gus Tullis is not here. I've known Gus for, gosh, 40 years. And please give him my regards. And also my dear friend Craig Worthy back there with Body Knoll. He and his wife Cindy and I and my wife have been good friends for a long time. So thank you. Beautiful facility, and thank you for hosting us here. Well, let's get right to the heart of the issue. I want to tell you right off the top that we have the right guy in Chris Chung in the partnership. And certainly Whit and the other folks that are heading that organization are doing a spectacular job. In a nutshell, and Chris touched on it, I look at the partnership as being the starry-eyed young world beaters. They're supposed to go out there and find deals, and every deal's a good deal. And they're supposed to turn up every rock and bring back lots of fish points. And it's our job in commerce, along with Russell, to ask the hard questions. I'm supposed to be the old gray-haired guy who's been knocked down on every flight of stairs, which I have. And we're supposed to ask the hard questions as to whether or not the state is willing to invest money in these particular programs. So it's a wonderful, wonderful blend of starry-eyed young world beater and experience that hopefully will make the right decision for the state. Because at the end of the day, incentive money is incentive money. Some is appropriated and some is self-fulfilling. And one of the most important things that we need to take away from today is this program that is called the Job Development Investment Grant, the JDIG as it's colloquially called. I find in state government everything has to have an acronym. And JDIG is the 800-pound gorilla program. JDIG is the big incentive program that's supposed to be able to put us over the top when all things are equal. Because there is a highly competitive world out there. The southeastern states are very good at what they do, and they are our competition. It is fierce. And like it or not, everybody would love to have a world without incentives. Incentives are part of the fabric of the recruiting process today. And I'm sure not prepared to lay down arms and say we'll be the first to disarm while they run over us. Because right now, we can make the case that they're running over us. But this JDIG program is the most misunderstood program in the state of North Carolina. It's called the Job Development Investment Grant. And when these grants are articulated, they're articulated in gross numbers. Easy example, Metropolitan Life moved 2,600 jobs to North Carolina at an average salary of $85,000. In addition to which, they're spending $100 million on 2 new facilities in the state of North Carolina. Now, I doubt anybody would say no to that opportunity. The media has reported the Metropolitan Life deal correctly as a $125 million JDIG award. Job Development Investment Grant. Everybody assumes that the state of North Carolina has written Metropolitan Life a check for $125 million day one and said move to North Carolina. I would venture to say that the majority of the General Assembly believes that. In reality, and that's why the JDIG, the grant component, is a misnomer. As I say, the JDIG has digged us into a hole. The reality is it's a reimbursement program. Metropolitan Life will get reimbursed a small portion of the new tax created by the new jobs created that we otherwise would not have had but for the fact they moved to the state of North Carolina. So to put it in mathematical context, if we receive $5 in new revenue that we didn't have before from the 2,600 employees at Metropolitan Life, we will rebate or refund or reimburse the company after we've received the money $1.50. And we do that for a period of 12 years. Of the remaining money, the $3.50 of our $5, 50 cents goes into something called the utility fund, which goes to support and build infrastructure in the bottom 80 least economically advantaged counties in the state. The top 20 cannot participate in this fund. So we're up to a grand total of $2 of the 5. The other 3 goes to the Treasury, to the state of North Carolina, to the general fund. And when Metropolitan Life makes a decision to come to North Carolina, do you think it's a 12-year decision? The answer is of course not. It's a 50-year decision. So we keep 100% of those proceeds from year 13 to 50, and hopefully from year 50 to 100. So all the consternation we're having in the General Assembly about passing the most important incentive legislation is patently absurd. We should be wanting to do 100 JDIG deals a day because from the beginning it returns money to the Treasury. From day one. We reimburse after we receive the money. We only reimburse on the actual number of jobs created. If they say 2,600 and only create 2,000, their reimbursement is reduced proportionally. If they pick up and leave the state, we have a clawback provision that requires them to pay back all the money. And the 2 clawbacks I know about happened in the last several years. Both have been recovered in full. The single most important program we have in the state of North Carolina to recruit a company to your site is in limbo. Governor McCrory asked in the State of the State speech that the General Assembly pass this legislation in a matter of weeks, not months. If you remember correctly, for those of you who follow, The General Assembly failed to pass this legislation last session. So I come to Commerce from Diener, having fought the coal ash wars, got that behind us, thinking I was going to Commerce, and in my mind I said there is no way they couldn't realize that they made a terrible mistake last time not getting this legislation passed. I figured they were going to listen to the governor. 3 weeks, the House stepped up, and it was 2 to 3 weeks. And they passed legislation doing two key things that we need to have. One is, in North Carolina, unlike South Carolina, the General Assembly chooses to cap the amount of this money we can use. It creates net dollars to the Treasury day one, and yet the General Assembly has chosen to cap the amount we can use. So we have to be very judicious in how we make these awards. South Carolina, no cap. We want all comers. All business that's legal is good business, and they are aggressive. I talked to a gentleman the other night who's got a $10 million expansion with 70 jobs. South Carolina is calling him at home at night. I'm not sure we could offer a JDIG on that scenario because we don't have right now. We can't offer it right now. We have no cap. We are out of cap. We get more cap July 1, but the whole program sunsets at the end of this year. South Carolina, there's no sunset. It just rolls, which is what we should have in North Carolina. So what the House did very quickly is they increased our cap. It's still capped. And they extended the program to 2020. Because not only do we need cap, we need to give the marketplace certainty that North Carolina is in the game. Because what do we all want in life? We all want personally, we want certainty. Certainly every corporation wants that too. And the fact that we are not in the game is not helpful at this point in time. I had a gentleman come up to me in Greensboro the other night, a very successful businessman, said, I just got back from South Carolina, I was visiting with Governor Haley. She came up and thanked me for being from North Carolina. Another gentleman who's with a major corporation that does a lot of work in North and South Carolina said, I finally figured it out. A South Carolina member of the legislature told me, he said, the reason we're beating you, because our House and our Senate and our governor are all on the same page of the hymn book, and we let the governor be the quarterback. Not the case in North Carolina. What the answer is, as I said to Russell earlier, from your mouth to God's ears, I don't know the answer. The Senate has this idea that if we are a zero income tax and a zero corporate tax state, that companies will come to North Carolina or companies will choose to stay and grow in North Carolina simply because of the tax environment. As Chris will verify, there are a lot of states in the Southeast that have a better tax environment than we do. We have a good tax environment. We dropped corporate and individual rates dramatically last session. There are triggers in that legislation that said if revenues hit certain plateaus, we'll drop it some more. We haven't hit those triggers. But the Senate, for some reason, believes that a zero tax environment will be the only thing that's necessary. The reality is there are states with better tax environments. There are states with zero personal income tax environments, Texas, Tennessee, Florida. They all have incentive packages, and as a rule, those incentive packages are better than North Carolina's. I wish I could tell you that there was a magic answer. I wish I could tell you that there was something immediately pending that was going to break this log jam. I can't tell you that. We have begged, pleaded, cajoled, try to educate everyone we can. Please re-educate people about the fact that the Job Development Investment Grant is not a college scholarship. You know, you recruit the greatest high school basketball player in the country to come transform your program. And they get a grant in aid. Everybody thinks it's a college scholarship. They get tuition, meals, books, room, board, whatever else you get in the package. And if you never score a basket, you still get the money, right? Everybody thinks that our incentive programs are college scholarships, and they're not. So part of my plea to you is please help educate everyone that this major incentive program is not only necessary and absolutely imperative for us to be competitive, but it is a net return to the Treasury day one. We shouldn't have a cap, we shouldn't have a sunset, and we should be able to use this continuously to help create growth in the state. I'll close with just one other observation about the General Assembly, the people that make the rules. I had a senator say to me the other day, I'm tired of my rural county supporting Mecklenburg, Wake, and Durham. This JDA program is costing my county. And I said, Senator, how? Because we're financially supporting it. I said, do you even understand how the program works? Didn't have the foggiest idea that it was not a college scholarship. And this is a person making the rules to the state of North Carolina with a vision of being able to use these incentive monies to force people where they don't want to go. Do we really think that Mercedes-Benz is going to put their corporate headquarters in Rutherfordton? It's not going to happen. All the incentive money in the world is not going to force companies to go where they don't want to go. Conversely, and I said to this person, I said, do you think a major automotive manufacturer is going to locate in downtown Charlotte? That's why you have been so great and so foresighted and worked so hard to have a location that is conducive to causing a major manufacturer to come. And I don't want to put all our money on an automobile manufacturer. There's lots of other things that get made in this world. There's food packaging, there's food processing, there's aerospace. There's a lot of things that can be accommodated by your site. And we are committed to making that happen. Well, I took all my time on one topic, so I'll sit down and shut up. But thank you for your hospitality.